Hello, everyone. My name is Zulfiqar, and welcome to another episode of Income Investors. With me today is John Whitefoot. But before I go into any details, I want to let you know that anything you see in this video is for information and educational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be taken as personalized investment advice. Investing comes with risk. No matter how safe an investment sounds, there are risks involved. If you want to read more about what John writes on a regular basis, you could go directly to www.incomeinvestors.com. While you're at incomeinvestors.com, you could also sign up for free reports that we offer that get delivered to your inbox. Gold tends to get most attention when it comes to basic materials industry, but its equally shiny peers shouldn't get overlooked. In fact, there are a large number of reasons why the outlook for today's income pick, Southern Copper Corp, traded on New York Stock Exchange under symbol SCCO, is bullish for coming decades. A little background first. Because copper has so many applications, it is generally seen as a cyclical economic indicator. It is used in homes, factories, electronics, power generations, and the green transition. So when the demand for copper rises, it typically means that the economy is growing, or the reverse. During the 2008 Great Recession, copper prices tumbled from around $3.75 per pound to about $1.50 per pound. During the pandemic, copper prices went on a tear from $2.17 per pound in March 2020 to more than $5 per pound in March 2022. Why did copper prices rip during the worst economic crisis of the last 100 years? This was mainly because of record stimulus led to a surge in manufacturing and a weak US dollar, which has an inverse relationship, and that sent copper prices soaring. However, copper prices have been sliding since then, with rising interest rates and ongoing fears of global recessions is hampering demand. Right now, the price of copper is down more than 32% from its March 2022 highs of $5.03 per pound. The drop can be attributed to weak demand from China and the strong US dollar. While cyclical headwinds are limiting copper prices in 2023, the long-range forecast looks exceptionally different. John?
Yeah, thanks, Mo. You're totally correct. A bullish case for overlooked copper can certainly be made. We provide many tailwinds in this article on incomeinvestors.com, but here I'll just cover a couple. First, China has been the world's largest consumer of copper for years, using 55% of the world's supply in 2022, but China could soon be dwarfed by the US. Over the coming years, the demand for copper is projected to soar, with demand fueled by growth of clean energy projects and a shortage of supply. Case in point, in 2020, green copper demand was responsible for 4% of global demand. Fast forward to 2023, and it's responsible for 7% of global consumption. Now, by 2040, copper is expected to be responsible for a whopping 47% of total demand. Copper could be the new oil, and without copper, there can be no decarbonization. Analysts at Citibank believe that copper is the energy transition bull. And while the global economy is cyclically weak right now, copper's eventual bull could make crude oil's famous 2008 rally look like child's play. Now, if you'll remember, going back to the financial crisis, crude oil prices spiked from $50 per barrel in mid-2006 to $140 per barrel in late 2007. Now, Citi thinks that copper could experience a similar price spike over the coming years, with commodity traders looking for exposure to the energy transition. This, they believe, could lead to copper prices jumping to $15,000 per metric ton over the next 3 years. That's up from $8,350 per metric ton today.
And John, I think I want to mention a little bigger picture in the copper market as well. To also understand when you're looking at copper is there are very few mines out there that are producing copper. And in order to build a new copper mine, it can take a lot of time and years to build it. So if copper prices remain suppressed for a long time, that means that investment doesn't really go into the sector, and that creates more problems down the road when it comes to supply. But let's talk about Southern Copper. John, tell us more about what does this company do?
Google-friendly Southern Copper Corporation is one of the largest integrated copper producers in the world. Its segments include its Peruvian operations, its Mexican open-pit copper mines, and the Mexican underground mining operations. It also conducts exploration activities in Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, and I think Peru. It's also home to the industry's largest reserves of around 44.8 million metric tons and 71.9 million metric tons of copper reserves. Now, to put those massive numbers into perspective, their reserves are 23% higher than Freeport 58% higher than BHP Group, and 142% greater than Rio Tinto. In addition to being the number one company in the world by reserves and resources, Southern Copper is also the number 5 copper producer, number 10 copper smelter, and the number 7 refiner. It also ranks as one of the world's largest producers of silver and zinc. Now, at current volumes and production levels, it has a mine life of around 68 years. And by 2032, it expects copper production to close in on 1.6 million metric tons. That's 70% more than what the company is expected to produce this year. As for costs, because they're so massive, the cash cost to produce a pound of copper in 2021 was 67 cents, with an average price $4.24 per pound. Fast forward to 2022, the cash cost was 78 cents, with price for a pound of about $4. And it's expected to remain at $4 per pound this year.
Southern Copper's net income jumped 26% in the second quarter. Tell me more about what's happening there.
Yeah, for the second quarter, Southern Copper announced that revenue slipped 0.02% year over year, so basically flat to $2.3 billion. This was despite a 12.1% increase in sales volume for copper. The slight decrease was a result of lower metal prices for copper and zinc and sales volume for silver. On the other hand, second quarter net income was actually up 26.6% at $547.5 million, or 71 cents per share. Now, that big increase in earnings was a result mainly of a 7.9% reduction in cost of sales. During the quarter, copper production increased more than 9%. Mine zinc production increased almost 14%, while mine silver production rose 8%.
How does this impact its dividend?
Well, Southern Copper is actually known in the industry for its outstanding dividend policy. For the pandemic, its quarterly dividend stood at 40 cents per share. From the end of 2020 through the fourth quarter of 2021, it raised its payout every quarter from 50 cents per share to $1 per share. And then in the second quarter of 2022, it raised it again to $1.25 per share. When it comes to commodities and dividends, the payouts don't always go up. They can, ebb and flow. So this past July, the company declared a quarterly dividend of $1 per share, or $4 on an annual basis, for a yield of 4.87%. That payout is down from the $1.25 distribution in the second quarter of 2022, but it's actually up 33% over the 75 cents it paid out in the third quarter of 2022.
And John, I'm just looking at the SCCO stock. This stock is up 80% year over year.
Yeah. In addition to its reliable high yield dividend, Southern Copper Corp stock has also been performing exceptionally well this year, up 11% over the last 3 months, 35% year to date, and 80% year over year. Now, can Southern Copper maintain this torrid pace? Those are big gains by any account, and chances are Southern Copper will give up some short-term ground to well-deserved profit taking. Southern Copper stock actually hit a new record high of 86.55 on July 31st, and it's mostly held on to those gains since then too.
John, thank you so much for your analysis. Copper prices may be a little depressed right now, but the bullish outlook for copper means investors should keep Southern Copper Corp on their radar. This company has world-class assets in investment-grade countries, the highest copper reserves of any publicly listed company, and excellent organic growth project. Southern Copper also has an outstanding dividend history with bullish long-term outlook for copper and low-cost integrated operations. The outlook for Southern Copper stock and dividend remained exceptional. That's it for today. We'll be back with another income idea soon, so stay tuned. In the meantime, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye for now.